Well, welcome everybody to our webinar tonight. Thanks for joining us. My name is Dr. Stephen Moore. I live in Jupiter, Florida, and it was about 21 years ago that I got introduced to the biophotonic scanner. It did not look like it does today. It was a huge device coming out of the University of Utah. The original one was about the size of an MRI machine, but I was looking for a way to help patients, a way to get people's attention about the role of nutrition so that they can be more proactive with their health. And many healthcare providers and the public is understanding the importance more than ever about why we should be taking a proactive role in our health and that our bodies have this amazing ability to heal. We are self-healing organisms. The problem is we have a more toxic environment. The quality of our food is not where it needs to be. And we know that more and more drugs and surgeries are not necessarily the answer to better health. And so, how do we make these changes and how do we create the awareness? And a lot of people are taking nutritional supplements. I was taking some, wondering what do I recommend to my patients? And there are so many different choices that are out there. And so when I saw the biophotonic scanner for the first time when I was living in the Silicon Valley, I realized that this is something that could be very useful. I got tested, didn't score as well as I thought I was going to at 31,000. Took the challenge to try the Pharmanex supplements and was able to get my score as high as 90,000. And we consistently see improvements in scores and awareness around health and nutrition. I have never seen anything motivate people to improve or take a role in their health and empower them to make a difference more than this biophotonic scanner. And it's very simple, it's very easy. And what that does is that creates a huge opportunity to make a big impact because we're solving a huge problem. And when you can solve a big problem, there's a huge amount of business that can be generated as well. So whether you're joining us as a healthcare provider, whether you're a medical rep, whether you're an entrepreneur or a health advocate, we need more people to help us get the word out there because we believe that this will become the next new major biomarker in healthcare, and that provides an opportunity to do some incredible things. And so I ended up forming Get Healthy USA and Healthcare Alliance with a couple of friends of mine and colleagues, and we have done some really exciting things through the efforts of some very, very amazing people. And so, where did the scanner come from? It was not funded or developed originally from the company that makes the supplements, Pharmanex. And I think that's a very important thing because there's so many gadgets that are out there developed by companies to validate what they're doing. This was developed for a completely different purpose to screen for risk factors of macular degeneration, which is the leading cause of eye disease. And then it was expanded to cancer, heart disease, and other applications. And then Pharmanex had heard about the device and took a look at it and saw this could be a useful technology to commercialize and bring to market. It's then coupled with the Pharmanex supplements now, because if we have a test, we want to have a solution, right? What's the sense of testing something if we can't fix it or if it doesn't change our course of treatment? And so what's unique about the Pharmanex product line, we'll go over more detail tonight, but they're also listed in the physician's desk reference, and they're the only supplements that are clinically proven and guaranteed to improve the score and provide better antioxidant protection to the body. There is some tremendous validation behind the technology and the company. Studies have been published with Stanford University. Yale's published a 10-year study. Texas Tech Medical School has been on the news and has used these in their clinics. New York College of Optometry has used them. ARVO, which is a big ophthalmology association, has published research on it. The technology behind this scanner is Nobel Prize winning science called Raman spectroscopy, Raman, Raman spectroscopy. Pharmanex was the most innovative company in the United States by the American Business Awards. They took first place for mid-cap companies. A company you may have heard of, Apple Computer, took first place for large cap companies. So we're in very good company. We've been featured on the Discovery Channel about preventing cancer and the role of antioxidants, the importance of measuring them. Our anti-aging or longevity and epigenetic research has been featured in a documentary on the Discovery Channel. Pharmanex was the first supplement company to get the approval to sponsor the U.S. Olympic team. They have had NSF certifications. We talked about the PDR, and they've also been recognized by some of the top business groups, such as Top 100 Trustworthy Companies by Forbes, Dun and Bradstreet, meaning they're financially stable and sound and pay their bills and pay the commissions out, and they're A plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. So this is not a startup company. This is not a new company. This is not an idea. This is essentially a startup within a well-established company. But now that the scanner has been on the market for quite some time, it is now ready to really expand aggressively and make a big impact. It typically takes medicine about 15 years to embrace innovation, and the biophotonic scanner was way ahead of its time. And now we're going into a window of growth where more and more healthcare providers are recognizing and understanding the importance of nutrition. Pharmanex's headquarters, these are their buildings in Provo, Utah, on the top right. So they own that whole complex. The building on the right on this horizontal building here. This is their innovation center. This was a $200 million investment. They paid for it in cash. Our distributor training centers on the top left. And then on the bottom right is a headquarters that we have in Asia to really unlock a lot of the secrets of Eastern medicine. And Pharmanex employs 75 full-time scientists, which is by far the largest research engine in this space. And so, how does this wrap up into a business model where you, as a healthcare provider, an entrepreneur, or a medical rep, can participate? So, we first need to look at some of these key things here. What would make up a good business in healthcare? Number one, we've got to address a problem, right? We all know that medicine is broken, badly broken, and people are looking for change. Number two, we're addressing the number one cause of preventable disease, which is our diet. And we'll talk more about these key points here. Number three, the demand for supplements, right, is increasing every single year. There is a huge trend growing in supplements, and we're going to show you a better way to do it with this technology. Number four, where this technology is completely validated and has become the new standard. We've got a great company behind it that's rock solid. And then number six is the revenue. Whether you're a healthcare provider that wants to add ancillary revenue to your practice, we have providers that have added over $1 million to their practice that they've earned profit since they put this in their practice. And they've done tremendous improvements in patient health. We have our average top representative last year was just under $500,000 in commissions. And we have some north of seven figures. And we have everything kind of from people starting with us part-time to people really hitting financial home runs with this. So it's really what you make of it. And we'll go through that as well. So let's talk about point number one. If you look at all these diseases we see here today, cancer, heart disease, diabetes, obesity, osteoporosis or osteopenia, all these diseases have the same thing in common, and that's they're related to our lifestyle. And a lot of these diseases are preventable. The challenge is medicine does not focus enough on prevention. Starting to focus more on early diagnosis, right, with mammograms and colonoscopies and so forth. But what do we actually do from a preventative standpoint to change people's lifestyle? And that's where the biophotonic scanner comes in as the most useful tool that I've ever seen to be able to do that. Another challenge we have in medicine is doctors are getting burnt out like crazy, right? You guys are seeing this. And in Medscape, you used to see a lot of articles about new advancements in health. And then you start to see all these articles about burnout. And I mean, here's one I pulled up. It said MDs are flocking to MDs are flocking to side gigs for money and pleasure. Should you do the same? I mean, how many doctors now are moonlighting or doing something different, or right? They're tired of it, or they're trying to offset declining reimbursements. And the need for healthcare providers to do something more fulfilling, to add some additional revenue stream, to be in control is more important than ever before. We used to have to try to convince doctors that it's important to position now because there's changes in healthcare over time that is not sustainable and it is going to impact you. And the need to bring in ancillary revenue streams that add more value to your practice will help offset that. And they didn't want to listen, right? Because we always think everything's going to be great. Well, now all these healthcare providers are listening, and they're seeing this as a great solution to help their patients do what they're trying to do on their own, which is select supplements that are often not working. With this technology and product line, we have a way to empower doctors to do it better than ever before. So number two, let's talk about our diets. We used to think that you could just get your nutrition from a healthy diet. Doctors used to say that like 15 years ago, right? Just eat healthy. But they don't say that anymore because we realize that nobody is really getting optimal nutrition from their diet. And this was actually proven by a study by the USDA with 22,000 people. Now, I get it. There are some people that are fanatics, and there are some people that really pay attention and could be doing that, right? But the vast majority of people are not. And so we need some practical solutions to support them. And that's why JAMA published an article. And I mean, this was 22 years ago. This is not new stuff. That for the first time, JAMA talked about all adults should be taking a multivitamin, right? And so we have about 3/4 or more of the population in the United States is already doing it, right? They're already taking a supplement. And the challenge is there's no way to measure the effectiveness. And so you've got all these supplement companies that are just marketing whatever they want to, private labeling things, making it as cheap as possible. And there's really no way to know if any of that stuff is really working. And this is what's led to the New York Attorney General filing a cease and desist letter to 4 major suppliers of supplements. This is what caused, the Vitamin Shop to get called out for having lead contamination in their women's supplement, women's multivitamin, not once, but twice. Because when you make things cheap for profit margin and you spend your money on marketing, you're cutting corners on quality control, or you're relying on someone else to do it and they're cutting corners of the quality control. And that's what happens. That's the landscape of most supplements in the United States. Thousands of supplements are getting recalled every single year by the FDA. And for every 1,000, there's probably a lot more that are having challenges because the FDA doesn't have enough resources to look at every supplement. They only intervene when people start getting hurt, right? So there's a need to clean up this. There's certainly a demand for this, but there is a need to do it better. And despite the fact that there are all those challenges with the supplement industry, the demand for supplements increases every single year because people are trying to invest in being more proactive with their health. They don't want to be on 10, 15, 20 medications like their mom or their grandparents. They want to live an active quality of life, and they're realizing that what they do today can actually make an impact in protecting their health. I mean, look around at all the proactive health centers popping up, whether it's cryotherapy, yoga, Pilates, look at all the gyms, med spas, right? Longevity clinics, IV clinics. There's a lot of money moving in this direction. And if you look at the supplement space, these are 2 graphs put together because the one on the left here goes from 2000 to 2017. These are the total supplement sales in just the US. It's been growing by $1 billion to $2 billion a year, for 17 years here, where it's now approaching about 37 billion. Well, COVID hit and everyone really started to invest in their health because they were seeing all the weaknesses in our medical system and what happens to people that aren't in good health when something comes after them. And so you saw a big jump in supplement sales in 2020, 46 billion went to 48 billion. It's projected, I don't know what this number is, right? But this is a 60, 70 billion dollar number, right? And so what we're saying here is if you can figure out a way to do it better and differentiate yourself, you can redirect that existing revenue into your practice or into your organization if you're an entrepreneur or medical rep. There is a big shift that's taking place on how supplements are being distributed. We talked about this. This was a consumer survey that said 75% of supplements or of people in the United States are taking a supplement. 80% of healthcare providers are recommending them, but they're not recommending anything specifically. So what ends up happening is the patients go out to the pharmacy and they walk up and down this aisle. How many of you have done this, right? And you get completely lost. You have no idea what to buy. You just grab something off the shelf because you're tired of looking, right? This is mass market supplements. These products are competing in price and they're competing in packaging and marketing. They are not competing in quality because there's no way for the consumer to compare them. And that poses a lot of challenges. And so healthcare providers are wondering, what supplement should I recommend? How do I know if it's working? And up until now, there's never been a convenient way to answer this question that has been simple and cost effective. Because if we look at healthcare, right, or the essence of science, we need to measure things. We measure blood pressure. We would never just put someone on blood pressure medication because they look like they have blood pressure. We have to measure them. In fact, we have to measure them multiple times on different days just to make sure that they have high blood pressure before we're going to treat them. Then we monitor them to see if the treatment is working. Now we're measuring vitamin D pretty routinely, and we're finding lots of deficiencies with vitamin D, and everybody's talking about vitamin D because we can measure it. But when it comes to supplements or antioxidants, everybody talks about it, right? The importance of antioxidants, a big buzzword, but no one's really been able to easily measure it. And that's where the opportunity comes in for the biophotonic scanner to solve this issue. It has been well validated. It's a 30-second test now. Now, the original machine, if you wanted to get tested, you had to fly to the University of Utah, go to the Huntsman Cancer Institute, walk into a room, and you would see this machine that took up the entire room, and it looked like a weapon of mass destruction, right? But $130 million or so later of R&D got this to where it is today, where it's a very portable, wireless, simple, quick, very reliable test to do. It cost about $2 to do the test. That's it. So now we can do it routinely on everybody, right? Because it's not invasive. We don't have to draw blood. We don't need a phlebotomist. We don't need to send it out to a lab. We don't need to wait weeks to get the results. And the other thing we can do when it comes to diet and lifestyle, because it's so easy and inexpensive, we can do this routinely and monitor people because we know that it takes time. People need that feedback to make those changes. People want to get feedback that if they're buying supplements, they want to know that they're working, or they're just going to go buy the next brand or go get what's on sale next time. When people know that what they're taking is working because it can be measured, they stick with it. Why would they ever go to something not knowing if it's going to work when what they're taking, they know it's work and it's been proven to them, right? This changes the whole game when it comes to supplements. And this is very easy. You don't need to be a nutritionist. You don't need to be a functional medicine doctor. I mean, we have a lot of functional medicine doctors and nutritionists that use this technology, but you don't need to go through a whole bunch of extra training, get another education, spend 30-minute or an hour consults. This is something that is very easy and can fit into a routine physical exam or routine vital sign. This is easier and takes less time to do than taking blood pressure, right? So we can do it on everybody. Now, low is bad, and the red zone would be a bad score. This is like 10 to 20,000, right? So your average smokers will routinely, on average, score at 14,000. Your diabetic patients, your obese patients, unfortunately, children often score in the red zone as well because of their diets. So we have a huge impact we can make on children. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And people that have chronic illnesses will tend to score in that red zone as well, because they have a lot more inflammation and oxidative stress going on in their body. So the goal here is to move from whatever zone you're in to a higher zone. Ideally, we've done about 30 million scans. We know people that have very healthy behaviors and healthy and optimal diets are going to tend to be in that blue zone or higher. So that's the target that we want to be able to hit. The average American is only in this orange zone, right? If we were to grade people, we would call the red an F, the orange a D, right? And then you get some people in the C's. Average person on LifePak, we can get up to the high green. And then if they take some of our other products or they start to make some changes with their diet, we can routinely get people up into this blue zone or this purple zone. I mean, we're talking about significant changes in antioxidant protection. So this is an easy thing for people to understand. I've gone to my kids' school and I've tested 4-year-olds, and I can get them to change their behavior because it's so simple. Is it backed by science? Yes, there are over 110 published peer-reviewed studies validating the technology. This is a 10-year study from Yale University. If you're interested in reading this and getting a copy, it's on our website. or your representative can get it over to you. So, what does a device measure? It measures the antioxidants in the body at the cellular level. Now, the antioxidants that it's measuring are what are called carotenoids. Now, you may not have heard the word carotenoids. Maybe you did, but maybe you didn't. But carotenoids are the fat soluble antioxidants that give the fruits and vegetables their color. So everyone says eat a lot of colorful fruits and vegetables to lower your risk of cancer and heart disease and slow down aging, right? Well, the nutrients that you're getting that are giving those fruits and vegetables their color are called carotenoids. And so what carotenoids do, if you guys don't have a healthcare background, this is a cross section of the cell. So this is the inside of the cell on the bottom in your DNA. This is the outside of the cell. You have some hormone receptors here, and you have this thing called the phospholipid bilayer, which is the membrane of your cell. Now, phospholipid means it's made of fat. Fat is very vulnerable to oxidation caused by free radical damage, which then leads to cellular dysfunction, which leads to disease. It leads to cellular dysfunction, which leads to hormone receptor dysfunction, right? This is what protects every cell in the body. Well, your fat soluble antioxidants, these carotenoids, are all packaged within this phospholipid bilayer. That's where they sit, right? So they're like a shield to your cell. The more of them you have, the better. This is what the biophotonic scanner measures, is this cellular protection. And it's measuring it through the skin, which is more reliable in the blood. Now, some people will ask, what's the significance of measuring carotenoids? Well, this is a study published in the Journal of National Cancer Institute by Harvard University that said high levels of these carotenoids significantly lower risk of breast cancer. So when you go for your next mammogram, right, and your doctor is screening you and says, congratulations, you don't have breast cancer, what do they say to you? Come back in next year or in 2 years and let's play Russian roulette again and see if you have breast cancer next time. The shift that OBGYNs and primary care providers can do when it comes to breast cancer and say, congratulations, you don't have breast cancer, but we want to measure your antioxidant levels to see how protected you are so that we can help you take a proactive approach. Isn't that a better way of doing things? Right. And so whether it's breast cancer, whether it's endothelial function, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's, the role of antioxidants in these carotenoids are protective against all of those health conditions. So here's just a few studies I pulled up. Here's one talking about carotenoids and reducing the risk of dying from cardiovascular disease, cancer, and all causes by up to 39%. This was a 14-year study. So these carotenoids are very significant. It's a very significant biomarker, and they're very important to monitor and to improve. Here's one on vascular aging. Here's one on eye disease. Here's one on, this one is on non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, HPV infections, rheumatoid arthritis, cognitive performance. In fact, there are so many studies talking about the role of oxidative stress, antioxidants, and carotenoids, literally tens of thousands of them. If you go on to PubMed and search cancer and carotenoids, you'll find 19,000 studies, right? So if you look up cardiovascular disease and carotenoids, you'll find over 3,000 studies, right? Whether it's neuropathy, pain, thyroid function, skin health, macular degeneration, periodontal disease, surgery, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, you will find a plethora of studies supporting the role of antioxidants and carotenoids, right? So this is why there's so many applications to this in healthcare. Now, you can also scan someone not just in a healthcare office. I mean, the device is so portable. I was visiting my sister and her husband up in New York, and I scanned him on the kitchen table, right? Super easy to do. And he scored terrible. And he said, you know what? I really want to make a difference in my health. My mother just got diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. I'm going to go get a Vitamix blender and I'm going to start shoving a bunch of kale and collards and vegetables in there every day to see if I can change this. And he did. He got his score up to 56,000, a huge improvement. But the next time I scanned him, he was around 30,000 because doing that juicing every single day is a really hard thing to continue doing. It's not very practical. So what my brother-in-law realized was that a practical approach was to do both, to take the supplements and do the best that he can with his diet for a better outcome. These are my children when they were a little bit younger. We should be measuring children, right? Because children are often in the red zone. This is the first generation of children that is where life expectancy is actually going down, right? And it's because of the diet and lifestyle choices. I was just talking to a healthcare provider today, how she was saying, complaining about how she's seeing more and more disease at a young age. We're all seeing that. And so our kids need to get tested. And when you have your patients come in, offer to scan their kids for free or whatever you want to do in your business, because we can make a huge impact on children's health. I love doing talks at my kids' school and getting the kids all excited and competitive with their health and their nutrition. So this really solves this issue, which is, this question mark. Now what we can do is we can get a baseline score of diet and lifestyle with the biophotonic scanner by measuring these carotenoids, put people on a supplement that we know works, and then we can retest them and show that it's working and monitor them over time, just like we would with anything else in healthcare. So what is LifePak? It's 7 formulas that are built into one. Gone are the days of having to open up 5 or 10 different bottles. Having a pack of supplements that looks like, I don't know if you can see this here, maybe you can't, but it's 4 pills. It comes in a pack that you take twice a day. This saves the patient's time and money because it's convenient and it's packaged together, and it's clinically proven to work with safety studies behind it. So as a healthcare provider, you can just say your score is bad. We want you to take this supplement and we want you to do some things with your diet and lifestyle. And then the next time you come in, we want to see how you're doing. And you know what'll happen is that score will improve, because the clinical studies on LifePak show that everyone goes up when they take it for 2 months. So what happens is the patient will come in, get a baseline. They'll take some of the Pharmanex supplements. They'll do some changes with their diet. And within 2 months, they'll improve their score, guaranteed, or their money back. Their score will continue to improve for about 4 to 6 months. And then they'll reach their plateau. And then you just want to keep them there to maintain those levels. Now, some people ask, what if they don't change their diet? Will their score go up? And the answer is yes. But we don't want the pills to replace the lifestyle choices. We really want people to do both, but we do know that the supplements alone will improve the score independently of other changes in lifestyle. So here's what we're doing here is we're taking the recommendation away from the manager at GNC, and we're shifting it to healthcare providers and other advocates that we train on how to use this technology to give patients better solutions with effective and safe products that are measurable. Now, some new advances that Pharmanex has also made is in gene expression research. They now have the ability to use these gene chips and to be able to measure the aging process. This database is proprietary to Pharmanex. Nobody else in the world has it. It was an acquisition that they made from a leading genetics company that did all of the research on caloric restriction. There's about 300 plus papers that are published on this science, and it's exclusive to Pharmanex. And what it allows them to do is to screen for natural ingredients with extreme precision and be able to rank them in order of effectiveness at resetting or restoring the gene expression to a more youthful state, literally targeting the epigenetic sources of aging. And then what they can do is once they have these ingredients, they can then test different formulations and see how the entire formulation is affecting the entire human genome in one experiment. There's nothing else like this, and this has led to some major discoveries. One of those is a product called ageLOC Youth, which targets 1,000 genes that controls aging in the body. There are published research on this, improving brain function with functional brain MRI scans. There's a study that was published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology showing improvements in skin health, photoprotective, as well as cosmetic appearance of the skin. So there are a lot of benefits of this product that's targeting the genetic sources of aging. It's also scanner certified, meaning we know it'll improve the score too. The next area they went into is metabolic health, but they actually developed this product for gut health, for the microbiome, which is a very popular topic. And they said, how can we make the microbiome healthier? They have an incredible probiotic, but they wanted to do more than just probiotics. So they learned about some of these anthocyanins, which give like the dark purples that are found in nature, and some of these fruits, as well as some black rice has these anthocyanins in it. And they have some incredible benefits. There are now 7 papers that are published on this product called ageLOC Meta, which was originally designed to improve gut health. But when they were doing their safety and clinical studies, what they had found is that it's actually resetting metabolic chemistry in the body and decreasing low-grade inflammation. And like I said, there are 7 published studies specifically on this product validating that. It's an incredible product. For me, I noticed it actually cleared up my sinuses, which was pretty interesting, right? So I had some chronic sinus issues. I was doing allergy testing. I was looking at, there were some surgical options that I didn't want to do. And this within 2 months, unexpectedly, I'm like, you know what? I'm not having those sinus issues that I've had for a while. And this has made a huge impact there. Now, we all know that collagen is something important that's very popular. The challenge is a lot of companies are marketing collagen, but they're not actually doing studies on it. So again, it's a lot of marketing. And so what Pharmanex did with their 75 scientists and said, can we actually figure out how to actually make a collagen product that actually shows efficacy? And they discovered a peptide, a very specific collagen peptide that not only acts as a building block to collagen, but it also acts as it actually targets a receptor in the fibroblast to naturally stimulate the production of not just collagen, but also elastin. And this is the first collagen product that supplement that actually has a clinical study published on it. There's some other ingredients in there that are also good for skin health as well. The parent company, Nu Skin, to Pharmanex now, they're owned by Nu Skin, has some beauty and wellness body devices. So if you have an interest in aesthetics or body wellness or skin care, they have been the #1 beauty device platform for the last 7 or 8 years in a row now. And 2 of these devices are actually FDA cleared now. So let's talk about the company behind it. Pharmanex was founded by 3 pharmaceutical scientists. One, Joe Chang, was over at Wyeth. He invented rapamycin, a photocancer therapy, and some arthritic drugs. Michael Chang on the bottom left here was the former director of medicinal chemistry for Merck. He developed the first statin from red yeast rice. And the other founder, Carl Djerassi, invented the birth control pill. So these are not like Dr. Bob or like some marketing guy that decided to go ahead and start a supplement company. Their role in pharma was drug discovery. So they were experts at looking in nature and Eastern medicine and so forth to try to discover compounds in nature that had efficacy and had a history, but they wanted to use a pharmaceutical approach to really develop those products to see if they could discover new medicine. And that's how most drugs actually get discovered initially. The problem they had is that every time they had an active ingredient, the drug companies would manipulate that molecule simply so they could patent it and make money off of it, but it never worked as well and had side effects. And so they said, well, we know the natural stuff works better. We know how to identify these compounds. Nobody in the supplement space was doing the level of research and quality control that they were used to seeing. So they actually decided to start their own company, and $40 million of venture capitalist funding. It was the largest nutritional startup ever back in 1995, and that was the birth of Pharmanex. They were in about 40,000 pharmacies, and then a few years later, Wyeth actually tried to buy them for 130 million. Division of Monsanto tried to buy them as well, and they didn't want to sell to the drug companies, and so a skincare company called Nu Skin was doing really well in the 90s, and they wanted to invest in R&D to take their company to the next level. They also had a lot of cash to infuse into Pharmanex to expand their research capabilities, and that's how these 2 companies have come together. Nu Skin's now been in business for 40 years. They rang the closing bell to the New York Stock Exchange. They're investing about $60 million a year in R&D. That's more than most supplement companies even sell. And so just a great company that's very stable, does the right things, and has the resources to continue to support the growth that we're going into. So let's talk a little bit about money. For a healthcare provider, they make revenue on testing as well as revenue on products, which is recurring revenue. So most patients go on a home delivery program on a subscription, and the doctor may make the recommendation one time, but they continue to receive a recurring revenue stream every month that that product automatically ships, right? So there's very few things that medical doctors or primary care doctors can do to add ancillary. Supplements are one of those things. Like dermatologists have done a lot with skin products. Every doctor can do something with nutritional supplements now because now we have a better way to do it that fits the medical model. If you're a medical rep or an entrepreneur, you would get an override of the entire network of these devices that you build, right? And it's a residual income or a recurring revenue stream. It's all leveraged income. And when we finish up this webinar, if anybody's interested in diving deeper into the income, we can do that as well. So how do the doctors make money? Most doctors charge $20 for the test. So every patient should be getting tested, just like blood pressure. But let's just say they test 5 a day. That's $25,000 of cash that they brought into the practice. 10 scans a day, 50,000 a year, 20 scans a day, $100,000 a year. And that's just in the testing. They don't have to fight for insurance. That's money that they collect at the office visit. As far as the product, 50 patients on the supplements is another 20,000 or so in annual revenue in addition to the testing. You can see 100 patients or you can see 200 patients. Now, I was just talking to my friend Lawrence today, and he says he was talking to a financial advisor, and he said, "Hey, if I want to make $100,000 a year of income, how much money do you need from me?" And he goes, "Well, if I could get you a 10% return, I would need $1 million from you in order to make make you $100,000 a year." In this program, a healthcare provider can invest $3,700, and with just 200 patients enrolling in the program, which we know 75% of their patients are already buying something, they can have the equivalent income of a $1 million investment, right? On a less than a $4,000 investment with this device. So it's pretty remarkable when you start to compare those things. And I really enjoyed that conversation and perspective from my friend Lawrence. So what kind of doctors should do this? Well, everyone, because nutrition affects every cell in the body, therefore it affects every condition and it touches every specialty. Cardiology talks about inflammation, vascular function, right? Arteries and so forth. Internal medicine and blood pressure. Internal medicine, cancer, I mean, really everything, right? OBGYNs talk a lot about cancer, autoimmune conditions, HPV, pregnancy. Eye doctors are talking about macular degeneration, dry eye. Dentists, periodontal disease, and surgical implants, right? Nutrition improves healing from surgeries. Podiatry, wound care, diabetes, and others. You look at chiropractic with wellness, soft tissue, fibromyalgia, dermatology. I mean, you name it, there's a role of nutrition. And there's a good opportunity for healthcare providers to do this. So if you are a medical rep, you've got unlimited call points, and every doctor you know can refer you another doctor in a different specialty. And you've got no limitations to what you can do with targeted specialties. There's no limitations in geography either, right? You're not isolated to just a small area as well. So let's talk about where we're going here. So we're going into this area of personalization. We now have over 333 million genetic data points through the ageLOC science. We have approaching 30 million scans, and we've done now over 1 million virtual skin assessments with an incredible technology that through the camera phone, your patients can do an objective and subjective skin assessment, and it will automatically assess their skin, make product recommendations, and allow them to purchase right from their phone, whether or not they even step foot in your practice. And then you'll receive a profit from all of those product sales. So it's a really cool app that we're here. And what this is doing now is we're taking all of that data. This is a mock-up of where we're going. We're going to be able to give patients a personalized experience where we'll be able to create a digital twin of them. Now, I know there's some other companies that talk about digital twin, but they don't have 40 years of R&D. They don't have a $200 million innovation center. They don't have 75 scientists. They don't have 40 years of experience developing products, and they don't have all of this data, right? So this company is actually the company that's going to get it done, where we're going to be able to connect all these things in a personalized experience that once patients get scanned, get a skin assessment, or try a product, they'll be able to go on a personalized journey to better understand how their body is aging. And they'll be able to get access to different types of testing from, we just acquired a DNA company. We have some very advanced algorithms in DNA that nobody else has, that we actually can give meaningful information to patients that is actionable. We'll be able to integrate to fitness trackers and track fitness. And then we'll be able to take all that information and deliver it in an app and provide personalized content, personalized education, and personalized product recommendations for patients to really meet the best version of their self, both on the inside as well as on the outside. And any product that they purchase will be commissionable and allocated to whoever acquired that customer. Once you acquire a customer in this system, you receive the commission and the revenue from their lifetime value, right? So if you're a doctor that acquires patients into the system, you receive revenue from the lifetime value of whatever that patient buys, right? This is something that has never been done before. We are opening up India towards the end of next year. So if anybody has any connections through people of Indian origin, so we're not ready to go into India, but we right now are looking for entrepreneurs and influential people that are connected within the Indian community in the United States, as well as some of the other markets that we're currently open in. So if you have any relationships with anyone of Indian origin, let your rep know, and you could potentially get a piece of that market as well. So as we go through here, we look at what the ability to measure does in healthcare. It moves the needle when you have a solution. And when we look at antioxidants, this is going to significantly consolidate the nutritional supplement industry. And whoever has that scanner in their practice is going to win, because it's going to be very difficult to compete against it, right? You want to get these scanners in your practice as quickly as possible so you can help your patients, but you can also capture that market share into your practice before someone else does. And if you're an entrepreneur or a medical rep, whoever's got the most scanners in the market wins, right? Because that's how the market really starts to get expanded. I think of these as like little oil wells. And if you're a healthcare provider, and you're wondering, hey, I'm entrepreneurial, I know a lot of other colleagues of mine that would be interested in getting this. Is there a way I can participate in that? And the answer is yes. We are growing our team of healthcare providers that are influential to help us expand this. We really believe that the best way to expand is for doctors to talk to their colleagues about it, right? That's always the best way, through word of mouth. And so if you're interested in that, we have an exciting profit sharing model for you. And we're happy to chat with you more about that. Our goal right now is to go from 2,000 devices to 25,000 devices. That represents only about 2.5% market penetration in the United States. There are over 1 million providers in the US. And we believe with just that small market penetration, we'll be able to make a huge impact to shift healthcare towards prevention. We do have a new device that's going to be coming out probably in, I don't want to say a date, but probably in a year-ish or so. And there'll be some new technology in there that will allow us to scale this technology to tens of thousands of these devices. And the question that people ask is, well, should I wait then? And no, you shouldn't. And here's why. The people that have the current version of the device will be first in line to get the new one when it comes out. And all of our upgrades, we're on our 3rd generation right now. They've all been free upgrades, right? I'm going to say again, all of our upgrades have been free upgrades. So whoever has the devices now and is the most productive with them will be first in line to get that upgrade to the next one. So here's if we look at things and different ways of making money, and this is just some kind of business education. Many of you have probably seen cash flow quadrant, but there are really 4 ways to make money in our economy. And Most people act as an employee. They're paid by the hour or they're paid by a yearly salary, and they're trading time for money. They're trading an hour of their time or trading a year of their time, and they're getting paid a salary, and maybe there are some bonuses and benefits. Well, a lot of people get sick of that and they say, well, I want to have my own business, so I'll go buy a franchise, or I'll go be a doctor, or I'll have a window washing business, or I'll go do Uber because I want that independence. And so they have this self-employment where they're the boss. The challenge is everything's up to them. So most doctors, if they don't show up tomorrow, they don't make money, yet they still have to pay their overhead. Very few doctors have leverage, right? And if you want to think about leverage, is if you take 90 days off of work, what breaks? Right? If you take 90 days, you just disappear for 90 days, what breaks in your business? Do you still generate income? Does that business still function without you? And for most people, it doesn't if they're on the left side of this. And so what happens is you want to create leverage in life. And leverage is what creates time freedom. Leverage is what allows you to make more income because you're not limited by your personal time. Because on the left-hand side, it feels like this. You don't show up, you don't get paid. So you're running harder and harder. And if you're a medical rep and you do really well, the company rewards you by raising your quota and chopping your territory because they want you to keep running as fast as you can. They don't want you to be free. And so you got to move over to the right side where you go into big business where you have a lot of leverage. This is 100 plus employees so that when you disappear, the business still continues to generate income without you. But you've got a lot of capital risk, you got employees to manage, right? That's the challenge with big business. And then ultimately you want to also get into the investment side because that's another way to leverage, right? You're either leveraging the efforts of a lot of people or you're leveraging you're leveraging your money. And both of these have risk and they require a lot of capital to get started. So, what our business model allows healthcare providers, medical reps, and entrepreneurs to do is to create a huge amount of leverage without the capital investment and without the risk. I don't know any other business models that I've seen in 21 years that can do that. And so why now? Because we're entering into some really exciting times. We have this window that is opening up where we're going through some rapid growth. You may say, did I miss it? Right? Steve's been doing it for 21 years. Well, I was doing it when no one heard about it, when it was really, really hard. It was like trying to sell the first fax machine or trying to sell the first cell phone when it was a suitcase, right? It was very expensive. It was clunky. Nobody had heard about it. You had to educate people. And if you look at the innovative side, when new things get launched, it represents about only 2.5% of the market. Then you start to move into your early adopters, which is about another 10%. And then once you get through these early adopters, you start to see things tip and it starts to go faster. And you start to get that early majority. We are in the early adopter, early majority phase of this. If you look around, it's not hard to talk to doctors about the importance of ancillary revenue. It is not hard to talk to doctors about longevity and these exciting things. It's not hard to talk to doctors about nutrition and supplements. They're already in that space. They're just looking for a way that they can participate in it. And this is why we're going into this window. And then you get the late majority, then the laggers. So if you talk to a doctor and they're not interested in this, it's okay. They're probably just a laggard. They're going to wait until everyone else has it before they want to do it. Right now, we're in this growth phase. This is the best time to get involved from an entrepreneurial standpoint. So this is where we are. And some of the reasons why is wellness is growing. The technology has gotten significantly better. The studies are now from 0 when I started to over 110. So there's a tremendous validation. The demand for supplements continues to grow. Declining reimbursement rates continues to put pressure on doctors to look elsewhere. And here's two big things is economic uncertainty, right? This is the first time in 40 years that we have had high inflation and a recessionary environment. And when you have that type of environment, there are a lot of people that are trying to figure out what they're going to do, right? What else? And now is a time that if you want to grow an organization, it's easier to talk to people about opportunity than it's ever been because of this uncertainty. And also there is a major enhancement that's going to get announced next week in our compensation plan that is going to light this whole thing on fire for anyone that's referring healthcare providers into the program. So there are some things that are happening now and some things that are coming in the next 30, 60, 90 days that are going to make a big impact in the growth, including a new device. So how do you get started? You get to choose, right? It doesn't really matter to me. You can go fast, medium, or slow. I mean, if you're a healthcare provider, obviously you want to invest in the device and get that up and running, and that's going to be a $3,700 investment. So rather than having to buy a device for 100 grand or more, like that laser machine or that CoolScope thing device that you got that was $300,000 plus 350 bucks every time you do a treatment, right? Plus you have to pay for marketing on top of that. This company leases the device to you. It's only $137 a month. That includes your maintenance, your software updates. If a new model comes out, they give you the new one, right? And CoolSculpting, when a new model comes out, they put billboards all over the place and say, get the new CoolSculpting treatment. And if you have the old one, you're out of business. You got to go invest in the new one. Not with Pharmanex. They give you the upgrades because this is a $137 a month lease. That's it. And then it's a small initial investment. They give you a bunch of product, systems, marketing, everything you need to get started. And your rep will coach your practice and help you be successful with this. If you're a rep, it's a little bit less because we're not doing a practice integration. So it's about $3,100 investment if you're a rep. There's a couple other ways of getting started without a scanner. So we have a medium package, which is really a sampling of different products. And then over time, you can qualify for a scanner based on sales performance. And then at a minimum, get started for free. We don't require you to invest to work with us. But I would at least recommend trying some products and having a personal experience with it. So you get to really choose, how fast you want to go, and you can talk to your rep about that. We have a support system in place. We do weekly training calls. We do this live event every Wednesday night with different speakers, different healthcare providers. We have events that are recorded that you can share, and we provide a lot of personal coaching and support for you to be successful, whether it's in your clinic or whether it's a member of our organization. We have a promo that we're doing right now where you get an extra 900 scans. So there is a $2 cost to do the scan. We give you scans every month with your lease, but now we're also giving an extra 900 scans. And if you're charging 20 bucks a scan, that's an extra $18,000 ROI. This is our healthcare forum that we run at the corporate headquarters. We did one a few months ago. It was the largest one that we've ever done by far. So our attendance was up 60% higher than any event we've ever done. And that's just an example of the enthusiasm and excitement and the window that we're in right now for growth. We expect the one in November to be closer to 200 people, and we hope that you can make it there with us. You can talk to your rep about registering for it, or you can go to this website. If you do register, make sure to let your rep know that you're planning on coming, so they know that you're going to be there. And then next steps are contact the person that invited you. Most of the people on our team do not have a strong sales background. They're not pushy salespeople. They're not going to, a lot of them aren't even good at following up sometimes, right? They're just passionate about health and want to get the word out there. So if you are interested in taking the next step, or you're ready to get started, or if you have some questions or just want to give them some feedback, send them a text message or give them a call tonight and set up some time to talk with them and let them know where you're at and where you want to go from here. And then some of you will also get a survey to fill out. That survey will actually give some feedback to your rep so that, we have a lot of people that are on this webinar tonight. And if you are interested and you do get that survey, fill it out. And if you don't get a hold of your rep, at least they'll get that information for you. So next week, we will have this webinar. I'll be presenting again next Wednesday. And you can go back to the link where you registered for this webinar and get registered for next week. If you've got any doctors, colleagues, other business partners that you want to invite to hear this message, you can utilize next week's webinar to help grow your business. And if you guys have any questions, we can answer them. But that is going to conclude the main part of our webinar tonight. I want to thank everybody for joining.